Welcome to Double Fries No Slaw. It is August 29th, and we finally reached game week. Myself, TJ Pittenger, Richie Barnes, and Sam from the Listen Up podcast. And I don't want to mess this one up, so let me look at it. And the So What, What's Next pod.
Yes, that's what me and Nikki.
Yeah.
And happy birthday to Nikki. Today is her birthday.
Happy birthday,
Saw that,
Nikki.
yeah.
35.
Don't be telling people's ages on here, bro.
It's fine.
She put it out there. She put it out there on Twitter.
It's not 35. It's 35.
Oh, okay. All right,
35. You good.
Finally made game week. Sam, thanks for hanging out with us tonight, man. We wanted to bring you on and chat with you a little bit about the season, about FSU making it through camp, about some other things. But thanks so much for coming on and hanging out. I feel like a lot of off seasons go really, really slow. This one seemed to fly by, but man,
it did feel fast. Yeah, it did. It did feel fast.
I'm glad that we are 2 game week. Did you guys watch any college football yesterday? There were a couple of terrible games on.
Oh, man, I'm tired of Nebraska. They're never coming back. Somebody take them out back, dude. It's over. All right.
There were only 5 SBS games yesterday, so I bet on all 5 of them, and I had Nebraska winning by 7 or more because I thought, it's Belima's first game. Scott Frost on the hot seat. No, hell no. They were not practicing. I don't believe it. Like the meme that we saw today that said the NCAA closed the investigation. There's no way they were holding illegal practices. But I went 2-3 yesterday, so that's not terrible for week 0. But it was good to have college football. Wake up, watch game day. I loved all the Bobby tributes from ESPN, from Fox. The Tom Rinaldi one was awesome. A lot of good stuff. But college football's back and better than ever. Literally about 1 week from right now, we're probably in the 12 minutes left in the first quarter of Notre Dame. So I cannot wait.
That's right.
Excited for it. Excited to get to. Sam, are you going to Tallahassee? You going to the game?
I got to be honest with you guys. I'm a little Delta scared.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to hang back. See how the first wave go. I do got the Miami game circled though. I got the Miami game circled, but I
got that one circled too.
Yeah, I got that.
But I need to see how we look going into week 10 before I confirm. I got circled in pencil for me.
You got that in pencil, okay.
It's a long 8-hour round trip, and it's like picking a fight to be able to go to that game. Hey babe, I'm gonna go watch football and drink beer all weekend. We just watch these 2 kids,
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that if we're going to lose by 40 again. I'm just telling you that fight is
TJ,
not happening.
Kara is a saint because I tell my wife about that. She's like, "Oh no, she's not coming." She's like, "What? TJ's allowed to go for the whole weekend like that?" Yeah. I'm like, "Yeah, that's it works out." So she's like, "Just know that will not be you in a few years." I'm like, "All right, babe, I got you."
I just tell her it's like pod stuff, bro. I got to go for the pod.
It's work.
This is not going to be fun.
Content creators got to create, Richie. They can't do that at home.
That's right.
Right. I can't fire off those same volume of tweets from the couch. I'm changing dirty diapers. Double Fries No Slaw brought to you by Guthrie's in Tallahassee. You can visit both their locations, 1818 West Tennessee Street, 2550 North Monroe. Having the tailgate this weekend. So Guthrie's will be providing the fried chicken. My guy over at Bay Canyon Brewery will be Matt is going to be bringing the beer. I'm bringing some good bourbon, and Richie's just bringing a bunch of people. So everybody's pitching in with something. So appreciate.
So is Richie like that guy? Is he like that guy that's just like, yeah, dude, come hang out? He don't ever you know what I'm saying? He just invite everybody.
I don't want to talk bad about him on
kind
the
of,
show. Yeah, I was gonna say, you pretty much nailed it. I don't know what you
it's almost like he's hosting. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. Come on, guys. We got you. And I'm like, interesting.
Oh, I know. Last year, they had the Cush House for the this part of the Roll Up Network. They had a bunch of people over to watch the Florida State Miami game, and I never should have gone, but I brought extra friends and stuff. Everyone's like, wait, who are all these people showing up? Oh, it's cool. They're with me, guys. Don't worry about it. I'm like, oh, all right. If Richie brought them, that's cool.
Yeah, Richie, you're that guy.
Yeah, definitely. Sam, we ask everybody that comes on here, bro, but you get it. You don't order the coleslaw, do you?
No, bro. I don't. Coleslaw only go on hot dogs. I don't even know what's going on. People yeah, I get coleslaw. I get extra coleslaw. What the fuck you putting it at? You taking it home, put it in the refrigerator? What the fuck you doing with the coleslaw, bro? Coleslaw goes on hot dogs. That's it. Or pulled pork.
Sam. Yeah, I was gonna say barbecue. Barbecue can hit some coleslaw as well, but other than that, I'm not
double fries. Always double fries, extra sauce, and always before I start drinking.
A lot of people go after the drinks. You're getting the bait. You're doing the opposite. You're letting that stuff sub up.
I know it's gonna be a long night, dude. So just go ahead and you know what I'm saying, fill up on potatoes and chicken, dude, and just
Get that base, get ready to go. I
yeah,
love
try
it.
to make it to 4 o'clock in the morning.
That's what we're doing. Golly, I'm way too over that. That's what we're doing at the tailgate. We're gonna try and get that base going.
Yeah, I can't stay up past 10 o'clock anymore. So
TJ gives me a hard time because I'm in bed by like 9, 10 o'clock every night, and on the weekend like 11 at the latest.
But Richie, you don't even have kids though, do you?
No, I got a puppy. You know, he keeps me up and
Oh
keeps
my
me
God.
active.
Yeah, that's not the same.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. But I love how people get so angry. Like when you're like, oh yeah, my dog's my kid. Like, no, they're effing not. I'm like, all right, I know that. I get it. But it's still part of our family.
Your dog don't kick you in the back all night long.
No.
When you're trying to go to sleep. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, Sam, thanks for hanging out. Tell us about your podcast. Tell us about both pods that you do, and then let's talk some FSU. Let's get into the fall camp, the season, everything we're going to talk about tonight. But tell us about your podcast.
Man, so I think we started Listen Up podcast, I think, 2 years ago, I think. It was about around the time when Willie was about to get fired, too. And we started that pod. They were actually supposed to be like a podcast for everything. It was supposed to be movies, FSU stuff, and social stuff. But people kept DMing me all the damn time about FSU stuff. So I was like, well, I guess it's an FSU pod now. So yeah, we've been doing that for a while, which has been crazy, man, because and I know you probably know this, TJ and Richie, but it's like once you start podding about FSU stuff, and just because you know like a little stuff, people start thinking you know every damn thing.
Mm-hmm.
And like people be all in your DMs with just weird shit, man. Just weird shit that I don't like to talk about. And so it's been cool, man. It's been really cool. And then me and Nikki started the So What's Next pod, which is all social stuff. Like we just talk about like politics. We get into the flavor of the month on Twitter, whatever's trending on Twitter. We get into a lot of football stuff too. So we're gonna do mainly like NFL, NBA stuff like that. Just hot topics mainly, you know. But it's a really cool pod. I gotta actually put more work in that pod because it's actually we put out a really good stuff on that one.
What is you picked the two most divisive subjects of all time: politics and FSU football for your two podcasts. Like you got like,
Dude,
like there's nothing that like makes people hate each other more than politics and FSU football.
The hate mail is crazy, dude. My DMs are crazy, dude. Like I get a lot of weirdos in there, dude. It's but I mean, I think we did the podcast with Richie after the George Floyd thing. A lot of people kind of liked those parts, just like people just talking from different backgrounds and everything. So people like they wanted more of it. So I was just like, well, I didn't want to kill people on the Florida State side with bringing that, you know, putting it on the pod every week, and they didn't want to listen to it. So I was like, well, I just divide it up, and then Nikki liked it talking about it too. So we just made it 2 separate podcasts because you know some people only want one thing when they come to that, you know, and it's you don't want to just force things on people all the time. So.
It's
and Sam,
it's the stick to sports mentality. Right?
Yeah, it really is.
Well, no, and it's funny because that's how like Sam and I started our relationship literally last March after George Floyd and all that happened. You know, I just threw out a random tweet like, you know, I'd always been like, and I've been very vocal about this. I'm very, you know, proud to be an American and all that. And the Kaepernick stuff kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And we're not getting into politics or anything like that on here, but I'd set a tweet out like, I kind of get it. But no, but Sam brought me on his podcast. We talked about it. And then we kind of stayed like, you know, in communication, you know, on and off ever since. And I love that because it's, you know, you're bringing a bunch of different ideas and people from different backgrounds. And I love the cross-pollination of all Florida State podcasts. Like I love when the big ones do collaborations because that doesn't happen very often, right? Like that's really cool to see. And it only helps all of us. Like when we have, you know, on the bench on here, they have a bigger following than us, but we help them and they help us. And I think that's what we're doing here tonight. There's going to be a lot of people that don't know about Listen Up or So What's Next. They're going to listen now. And then you're going to bring a following that may not have heard of Double Fries, No Slaw that are going to come in and listen now. And I think that's the coolest thing. And the root of it for all of us is Florida State football because we're all diehards. We all want the best. We've all been frustrated a lot the past few years, but you know, we're getting ready to start the season. We're through camp. And TJ, let's just jump into camp talk, man, because camp is over.
TJ said it best. If Florida State keeps sucking, we're all going to have like 5 or 6 podcasts apiece. So.
Right. Yeah, bro. I had to start a bourbon one just to cope with this, right? Like Sinone and I are tired of talking about FSU. We're like,
I started a golf podcast and I'm loving it, so it's fine. But like, I'm gonna have to start. Like, I went and bought a paddleboard last week. I'm gonna start a paddleboard contest or podcast.
People told me to do a Peloton one, and I'm just like, bro, I have nothing to talk about. I just hate that thing and love it. But Richie over here sold his. So now we can jump into some camp talk. Let's talk about it. So we get through camp this week. No major injuries, right? Praise the Lord for that. Some teams I've seen UF had an injury. I don't remember exactly who. Sorry, I don't follow them as closely as
they follow us.
Right. Yeah. Like that's just not my forte. But
you mean we're not playing the Star Wars fight song in our indoor practice facility while they're playing the war chant?
No kidding. So saw they had an injury, but no injuries through camp. Obviously, good news there. Any thoughts? I mean, this is pretty general, pretty vague, but any major thoughts coming out of camp with FSU this year, Sam?
Man, I'm a little disappointed that Parchment didn't separate itself from the rest of the group of the wide receivers, because we was really bad at wide receiver last year, a lot of drops and everything. So that kind of bothered me that they're saying he's finally starting to come on. I was hoping that he would be solidified as the number one wide receiver coming out of camp. I think Milton, this whole day-to-day thing with Milton kind of bothers me too, because it does seem like they've been giving more reps to Chuba and Tate, and I think that's because they want to have a solid number two. I mean, that might be controversial to people, but that's my feelings. That bothers me. I do feel like the defensive personnel fits better this year than it did last year. So I feel good about that part of it. And I feel like the special teams will be better, but those are my two main things. What's going on offense kind of bothers me a little bit. I'm a little concerned.
Offense is worrisome, right? Without we talked about this before we got on the air, without having a true number one at wide receiver. Terry kind of filled that role for a couple of years. Knew he was a deep threat, knew he was going to get the bulk of the targets. Right. I remember when he ended up not being able to play in the North Carolina game, either Richie or me or somebody basically said like, oh, he's out. Like, we're taking North Carolina by even more. And that game, it didn't even end up mattering. Like, all the other guys stepped up. But you're going to need that week in and week out. Like, you're going to need everybody to step up every week. And counting on that is a little bit tougher.
Well, you need somebody that the defense knows, okay, this guy can give me 8 catches for 150 if we don't, take a good look at him and really guard him. You know what I'm saying? And that kind of bothers me, because, I mean, I do think Ontario Wilson's a good wide receiver. I don't think he's a great wide receiver, but I think he's a good wide receiver, a good college wide receiver. And I think Keyshawn Hilton can be a pretty good college wide receiver also. And I do like Cam McDonald. So, I don't think that's a bad combination of players. I just think that you need a solid guy that you can say that can take all the pressure off of those guys,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Richie, any thoughts on camp as we get out of it? I know that's very vague, but like, what were your big takeaway or two?
Yeah, no, like you mentioned, the big thing I'm happy about is no major injuries, right? That's the one thing every coach and strength coach and team prays for is let's just get out of camp without an ACL or anything like that. Obviously, we lost Josh Griffiths and Brandon Moore to the transfer portal. There's different reasons why they may or may not have left. We don't want to speculate because I don't think you or I, TJ, have confirmation. Sam, you might.
I will speculate on the Listen Up podcast. I will speculate.
so check out the Listen Up podcast on that. But yeah, honestly, I think I'm so scarred from the last few years. I remember, TJ, a year ago, we did this podcast previewing the season, looking at the schedule, which we're about to do. And I said 9-3, and I felt like an idiot, and I still feel like one for that. I'm just done drinking the Kool-Aid. I want to believe all the good stuff I hear, but I think this camp is different because Mike Norvell's done something that no coach has done going back to Bobby Bowden, like early 2000s. He's basically opened it up to the media, said, come on, guys, all of you come in and watch it, but don't you dare tell LaSalle anything of significance of what you see out here. And that's what has me very skeptical and thinking I need to see something before I believe it. And when we get into the schedule previews, I'm not negative. I'm probably one of the more positive, optimistic Florida State fans, but I'm not too excited about the schedule preview because again, I need to see something. If we go out and beat Notre Dame, I would love to hop back on here and do this podcast again and redo the schedule prediction, but it is what it is for right now. But I think the big thing that, TJ, you kind of touched on is, where's Mackenzie Milton in the practice reports? On any website you read, any podcast you listen to, you're not really hearing about him. You're hearing about Jordan Travis, and it sounds like he's made a lot of progress. And Sam mentioned Chubba Purdy's getting a lot of reps, and it sounds like that's been really good for him, which I'm excited about. But at this point, and not to put you guys on the spot, it's got to be Jordan Travis come Sunday night, right, at this point, because unless Mackenzie Milton just has an out-of-world practice this week, everything again, and I'm not claiming to have insider information or anything like that, everything I've read, seeing, and listening, through the tea leaves, it's going to be Jordan Travis on Sunday. What do you think, Sam?
I think it's definitely Jordan Travis. I think it's been Jordan Travis for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest with you, it's tough though, because I like Jordan Travis, but he is a very injury-prone guy. He does kind of get shaken up and get hit a lot, but they had a full offseason this year, and last year somebody told me going into the season, the guys' bodies didn't feel right going into the season last year because the offseason was cut in half, their summer was cut in half, and they couldn't really get their bodies the way they wanted to, and a lot of guys was kind of having, a lot of elements going through the season. So I think he will get through the season, man. I think Jordan Travis, I think he's been a quarterback. And the only thing I don't understand was why even send Milton to ACC Media Days. Like, I didn't understand propping him up like that if you felt like, okay, we got to put him on a pitch count. I mean, all that stuff is just kind of weird to me. Like, I don't know. I do think Milton's going to play this year. I just don't know what that looks like. Is that like a series in the second quarter? I don't know what it looks like, man. I don't know. I'm concerned. I mean, I'm concerned about that because is Chubba ready? Like, if Travis goes down for a series or two or a week or two, is Chubba going to be able to step in and be that quarterback that we want him to be? I don't know, But I think the offense is going to be good with Jordan Travis. I really do. I think Norvell has proven he will move the football with whatever he has. He will move the football. And I think we can look at Norvell as a coach, and people think I'm negative on Norvell. I'm really not. I think he does a lot of great things running the football and things like that. So I think with Travis, I think you will run the football. I think you will move the football down the field. But I'm concerned if he get hurt. I don't know what the backup situation looks like.
I think you make a great point about taking him to media days. That was a little bit, when it happened, you thought, well, it's anybody's race, right? And so maybe that's why maybe they don't know who to take. But now, like you said, looking back, if it's certainly Travis, I will tell you the one encouraging thing is people have said this on and off the record, but people I've talked with that have been out at practice have said that Travis really has looked a lot better throwing the ball than they maybe expected or thought they would see out of him. And so, I'm excited to see him out there. I think that when you look at Florida State running the ball last year, we did a good job, especially factored in, his legs when he was healthy.
Yeah.
And if he can be mobile and throw well, then I think you're in good shape. I do agree with you. Like, it's going to be kind of weird. Most of the time when you see a quarterback split any kind of time, it's a primarily passing quarterback and a running guy coming in to kind of like spell him.
Right.
This could be the opposite. You're putting a guy in that's potentially less mobile,
right,
or certainly less mobile,
potentially,
right, with the injury. But a guy that's not going to be taken off. And so you're kind of doing it backwards. And so that it kind of not backwards, but just different than what we're kind of used to seeing. And so that'll be interesting, if it is in fact Travis.
But we could take one thing away from camp though. Brady Scott would not play in a significant football game this year. Brady Scott would not take a snap this year. I feel really confident about that. We got enough depth now. Brady Scott won't play, so that's a good thing going out. Camp. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and that's a testament to Alex Atkins and what he's coming. He's identified, and he's got. I think Alex Atkins really likes 5 or 6 guys.
Right.
You'd love that to be 8 or 9 guys, though, right? Yeah. For a whole season, and luckily, and we're going to hop right into this in a second, but it's going to be so important because this front half of the schedule. You have to stack those wins while you can because that back half gets brutal. But yeah, I will say Jordan Travis, I think the first practice that they let the most speak to the media afterwards, they had Mackenzie Milton and Jordan Travis come out together.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just say Jordan Travis looked a lot bigger than he did a year ago. Looks like he's been putting in that work. Like he makes Mackenzie Milton look like a mini man, right? Like he really does. And I don't know if you guys saw the when they were in Jacksonville, the FSU, their social media team did these things where they did impressions of players and other players had to guess who it was. And I believe it was Rodemaker was over there, and Purdy like walked up like on his knees. He's like, "Hey, what's up, man?" And he's like, "Oh, hey, Mackenzie Milton." Like, and Milton quote tweeted it. And it was just funny stuff, but yeah, Milton obviously what he did at UCF, nobody can question that, right? That was amazing. Especially he did it in a Scott Frost offense, and that guy clearly has no idea what he's doing coaching football right now. I don't know, but
we don't have any talent. We don't have any talent. You look like a shitty coach.
Well, when you recruit Florida and they all leave immediately to go back to Florida, that doesn't help.
That's a weird situation, man. I feel I normally don't say our program can't come back. I normally don't believe in it. I think everything goes in cycles, but I think you can take Nebraska out back. I think you can take them out back. I think it's over.
I think so too. And again, I think we're all in agreement that it sounds like Jordan Travis should or will be starting this weekend, but we're not sure. But let's get into what people want to hear. They want to hear the schedule. What games is Florida State going to win? What games are we going to lose? And it starts 1 week from today, almost literally 1 week from today for the hour. Florida State, Notre Dame, Tallahassee, first full stadium in Doak Campbell Stadium. I cannot wait. I will be there. I'm excited. Notre Dame only 7.5-point favorites right now. So I'm going to have the ESPN Football Power Index, their percentage chance for Florida State to win every game. And we're just going to go game by game and say, are we going to win or lose? A couple of these, Jacksonville State, UMass, Clemson, we can just skip right over because we know the outcome. But Notre Dame, I think there is some discussion. The ESPN Football Power Index is giving us a 28.7% chance of winning. Opening weekend, TJ, are we going to win next weekend, or are we going to leave Doak a little upset?
I don't think Florida State wins this game. I think they play fairly well, but they just don't do enough to come out with the win. Hunter just commented in the chat about the Bobby Bowden tribute will obviously be fantastic. Won't be a dry eye in the stadium. I think on both sides, right? I think Notre Dame fans are smart enough to appreciate the history and legacy that he was part of. Probably a little bitter towards him toward 93 because of 93 still as well. But I don't think Florida State does enough here. I think Florida State keeps it fairly close. I like Notre Dame something like 38-28. Probably covers the spread. But I don't think we get blown out, right? I think that we have taken that step to where we kind of keep it manageable, close. Maybe they score late to put it away, and we can't come back. So I got us with an L next week. Would love to be wrong there.
All right, Sam, what do you think, man?
I think Florida State actually beats Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame. I think you can beat a team if you're really good in two aspects of a game, right? If you can be really good on special teams and really good on offense for one game, I think you can beat Notre Dame. And they did a good job with special teams when they played Notre Dame the first time, right? They blocked some kicks. They did a pretty good job. And I think if you put all your eggs in this basket, and I know people hate to hear this, but I mean, they're healthy, you're healthy. They got a lot of uncertainty on the offensive line right now. And if there's ever a game that DJ Lundy is going to have a game that's fit for him, it will be against Notre Dame. They're going to run the football. I think our linebackers, and that's the problem is the linebackers. If you can get the linebackers to actually fill gaps in this game, man, I think Florida State going to win this game 24-17.
I think you hit
20-24, something like that.
I think you hit the nail on the head. It's the linebackers because everybody remembers last year. I think Notre Dame ran for what? 400 at least 400. It might have been 500 yards on us. It was worse for Miami, so I just got to throw that out there.
Yeah, it was worse for Miami.
Oh, that was UNC. My bad. But Notre Dame ran all over Florida State. Yeah. But at the same time, they were up 17-14 at the end of the first quarter. I've been burned so many times going back to Jimbo's last year, going back to Willie, going back to Mike last year, going back to Kendall Briles. Kendall Briles were good.
I'm going back, dude. This team, Notre Dame is a young football team. Jack Cohen is fucking. I mean, can we curse on this podcast? That dude is
We
terrible.
try not to, but
That dude is terrible.
but
I'm just
you're
saying, Cohen is terrible. He is not a good quarterback, dude. So I'm gonna say this: two things are gonna happen. Well, one thing is gonna happen. Either we win the game, or Adam Fuller is definitely fired. Because if Cohen go out there and throw for 333 yards or 300 or 400 yards against his FSU defense, there's no reason to keep that guy around.
That's a
Cohen
problem.
Is not good. He
Yes.
is not good, man. And I just think you can play a game where you play in the box. We got enough, I think, with Cooper. He's a senior now. He can control the offensive line.
Here, Thomas, I love it.
Kier Thomas on the end, Jermaine. I think you got enough up front for one game. I'm not saying you could do it throughout the whole year. For one game, I think you can. Norvell can get one of those fiery Baptist preacher talks before the game. I think we can get everybody fired up. Get the ghost of Bobby in there. I think some crazy stuff can happen at 7:30 that night in Doak Campbell. I just really believe.
Let's go.
So
Richie, what's your
really believe
score?
that.
So all I'm going to say, if I could erase, Jimbo's last year and beyond since then from my memory, I would probably pick Florida State. I truly believe in intangibles and momentum in college football much more than pro. I think that really does matter when you have kids that are, 17, 18 to 22 years old. But I need to see it. I've never been to Missouri, but you got to show me. So I'm going Notre Dame week 1 in a close game. I'm thinking like 28-24 type game. I will bet on Florida State. I will take the points. I can't go outright yet. But week 2, I don't think we need to spend a lot of time on this one, guys. I think we all have us beating Jacksonville State. Am I right? Can we move on there?
Yeah,
let's go to week.
Yeah.
So let's go to what I know TJ and I think is probably the most important game on the schedule. Wake Forest, up on Snuggy Hill, one of the most brutal environments in the entire ACC when those fans get up there. Halfway joking, but we struggled there lately. Guys, I hate to be negative guy. I'm taking a loss. ESPN win projection has Florida State at 45.9%.
Yes.
I need us to win. I need to see us start winning before I can truly buy in. It's just been year after year after year. I think this is a game, even if we do beat Notre Dame, which I think is possible, and they didn't beat Jack State, you go on the road. I'm just not convinced this team. They're one of the youngest teams in the country. I got to go Wake Forest here. Sam, let me kick it to you.
Yeah, so I got us beating Notre Dame. All right,
Yep.
So don't get mad at me, everybody, for this.
Yeah, get mad at me for having
We're definitely going to lose the Wake Forest, and this is why I say this, because I think when you play people matters, and I think the fact that Wake Forest is going to play Old Dominion and Norfolk State before they play us. So they practically got 4 weeks to prepare for you.
Yeah.
And they're a senior laden team. And they can throw the football. And I think any team that can throw the football against Florida State is gonna have some success. I'm not completely sold on what we got at safety yet. I gotta see it with Greenback. Maybe that changes a little bit. But I got Florida State actually losing that game. Actually, I think it's gonna be a shootout. So I think that's gonna be like 38-34.
Going on the road, I think Florida State has a great chance to win this, but I don't see it. I think Wake Forest ends up pulling it out. Similar to the Notre Dame game, I think it's close, and Wake has another one to put it. Adds a late score to maybe make it look not as close as it was. Something like 35-24. I think Florida State's got a great chance to win that. As ESPN says, it's basically a coin flip. Like I'm not calling that one a done deal.
Mm-hmm.
I feel better about that one than I do the Notre Dame game, even though it's on the road.
Right.
But I don't know that I have enough confidence to pick us over them just yet.
But something, I want to say this though, because I think a lot of fans kind of poo-poo a lot of these ACC teams, and I would tell people like just being honest, there's a lot of good football players in the ACC. They go to the pros. They have really good careers. I'm not even saying that to be joking. Like, it's like back in the days, a bad Florida State roster would have won 8 games, 9 games, or played in the ACC championship game. In this current ACC, you can't have a bad roster and think you're going to win 9 games. It's just the league has got that much better. It's a better league than what it was 5 years ago.
Especially,
years ago.
it feels like defensively, the league is just, dare I say, elite. They always have elite linemen. ends
They was
and
better than the SEC last
linebackers.
year. They was better than the SEC in defense last year.
Yeah, like the defensive players in the ACC are phenomenal. So it's not like where we were just going down to South Florida, hand picking who we want.
Right.
And all right, these guys can't stop us. Let's just score 40 on them. That ain't
Really?
this is not what's going on anymore.
No.
So we all have a loss there on the road to Wake Forest again. Would love to be wrong there as well. I'll start this one off. I do think Florida State beats Louisville. I think it's going to be really, really close. I like us. They lose 2-2 at Atwell. I think last year's team, just coming off the North Carolina game, didn't have their head screwed on straight, and that game totally just snowballed. They passed and ran all over us. I don't think we're as bad or they're as good as what that game showed. Florida State obviously beat Louisville the 2 years before that. I think Florida State wins this. It's close, 31-28, but I do think FSU gets their second win of the year here. Sam?
I think Florida State beats Louisville. I think Florida State actually puts a pretty good number on Louisville this year.
Yeah, I think Scott Satterfield's on the hot seat. It's wild that we're going to be unanimous on a team that beat us by 32 points a year ago, but I think this is Scott Satterfield's last year. I'm taking Florida State. And I don't want to say comfortably, but we'll see. And I think we can skip through this next one pretty quickly. Syracuse, I hope we all got a win because ESPN has us at 89% to win this game. No explanation needed. I think we're going to win that game.
Is Nino still coaching Syracuse?
For now.
Really?
For now. I think he's I think this might be it for him.
He's held on a little longer than I thought he would. Yeah, they definitely beat Syracuse. I'm surprised Dino's still there though.
Well, he beat Clemson two or 3 years ago.
yeah.
That's all it takes. Ask Tommy Bowden, beat Florida State a few times. Kept his job forever.
Yeah. I don't know that we blow them out just because I haven't seen us blow out anybody in years. Like even the Duke game got a little too close last year at the end of the year.
Hey, Willie blew Syracuse out now. That last year before he got fired, he blew Syracuse out.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
But I did watch Liberty beat the heck out of Syracuse last year, and so shout out to the alma mater. I do have us winning this by a couple touchdowns.
I wouldn't want to play Liberty. I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't want to play Liberty.
It'd be. I mean, I get some good trolls in, but that's a bad line. I'd take some trolls too.
So after Syracuse, we have to go to North Carolina. Mac Brown, was he 0-10 now against Florida State? His alma mater, but
he's 1-10 now. He's winning by 2 touchdowns.
I agree. I have to take North Carolina in 2 touchdowns. It might be 3. I think Sam Howell's that guy. I really do.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a number, fellas. I think that's a buckle up. That's going to be a number. Yeah, I think that's going to be it. I could see that game being like 20-50.
Yeah.
Something stupid.
So I do think we're going to get a lot of possessions because of North Carolina's high-powered offense, and we're not going to be able to stop them.
Right.
I think we're going to score.
Right.
Not
we
enough
will.
to
Not
matter.
enough. Yeah.
But I like us 45. I like them, 45-31, which is somewhat respectable.
Yeah.
2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Maybe a late score to make it look better than it was. 45-31.
The only thing that bothers me is that they hadn't had defensive personnel the first 2 years. They had to recruit to it. They've recruited really well to that defensive personnel. And all those guys now are sophomores. So, and they defensive coordinator is pretty good. So I'm kind of like,
Yeah. So I think we all see us taking an L there. These next 2 weeks we can rapid fire through. Walt Bell, come take this L. You cost us Sam Howell, like he's going to lose it, and we're not beating Clemson. Do either of you guys differ on either of those two?
No, we're all going to agree there. But let's do this. Do we beat UMass by more, or does Clemson beat us by more? That's because we all know what's going to happen. In those
we better beat UMass by more because they are legit the worst team in the country. Not close. Not close.
Tough. That's tough for me because
and that's bad, Sam. That's bad for Florida State.
No, well, because I know Dabo is not going to pull the horses back, right? I know that it's going to be.
That's true.
Right.
Especially after this year. Yeah.
And I think Norvell come off that stretch where you play Louisville, Syracuse, North Carolina. If you get up by 3 touchdowns against UMass, do you really want to keep your starters in? You really want to kind of rest some of your D linemen?
Yeah.
Right? So I know Dabo is not gonna. I know he's not gonna pull that shit. I know he's gonna put an ungodly number if he can do it. If he can do
and
it,
he can. Yeah.
That might be a game you might want to look at a little delta or forfeit. Just
Hey.
if you get them 2 years in a row back to back, that'll be what's up.
Now, what I
maybe get
will
a new
say-
walk-on that's not vaccinated and say, hey, we're below 85%. We're good.
What I will say is, I know that he's probably going to run it up because of last year and all that we went through and all of that.
Right.
I know that he's still bitter about 2013. When we played them 2 years ago, they scored 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. They scored 2 touchdowns in the second quarter, and then they scored 2 touchdowns in the third quarter. And it was something ridiculous. Like, the game was over. It was 42-10 or whatever it was. But then in the fourth quarter, he was up by 30. He pulled his starters out because he's got the same thing. Rest guys, the same way we would. So to me, like, if you're just making them drive and use clock, like that's how you don't have them put up 60, right?
So
like,
you just go straight cover 2 zone,
make them nickel and dime you all the way down the field.
Catch the ball, tackle.
Yeah. If we
All right.
even do that.
So we all know we're going to lose to Clemson. So let's just move on to NC State at this point. And ESPN's actually, the Football Power Index, giving us a 56.8% chance of winning.
Yeah.
It's at home, and this is a game that I think Norvell has to win. It's one of those ones where, you lost the ugly one up there in Raleigh last year. I'm sure Hunter's listening right now and celebrating as I say that. But you cannot lose to NC State at home. That they are, and here's the thing: they're not a bad team, right? They'll be a good team. So let me rephrase that: you cannot get blown out by them at home. If you lose a close game, I still have questions, but at least you have that. But don't lose by 3 scores at home. And it's really a game you probably should win. I'm putting us down as a win because if we don't lose this, I'm looking at Mike like, come on, guy. This is a guy. These are the games we got to win.
So, okay. So you're saying if he loses NC State, that's going to be a game where you kind of question what's going on.
I'm saying in the flow of the season, like sure, if you lose it, but again, we'll get to the final record at the end and that'll tell the story because I have my final record that I think we should. I'm not saying NC State's a guaranteed win. Mm-hmm. I'm saying that's one at home. That's a game you need to make a statement and say, hey, all right, we're taking back the Atlantic and this is how we're doing it.
Okay. You want to go, TJ, or you want me to go?
Go, Sam. No, I want Sam to go because I think Sam's ready. He's ready to go.
Sam's got some things to say about this. I will say I think NC State's the second best team in our division, and so but I do think they're very close to on par with Wake, and so if the difference is home and away there, I do think that Florida State has it. Like I think it would be a good thing for Florida State to split with NC State and Wake Forest,
right?
And if I've got to pick which one I think we win, I'll take us at home. I guess, right? I think we win this too. Maybe that's a bit of a homer, but super close, like 27-24.
Yeah,
I'm not.
It won't be
confident,
easy. It won't be easy.
But
yeah.
I have us as a slight favorite here.
So NC State come off of playing. So they're the last 3 games before they play. They be BC, Miami, Louisville, and then us. Man, it's hard for me to get out the mindset that of what Bailey Hopman did to us last year.
Oh my God! And we don't know what NC State's going to look like.
Well, their quarterback before Bailey Hopman was better. He was way better.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, he was way better. I think they're going to lose to NC State. But I guess my biggest thing is any of these losses that Mike Norvell gets this year. Yeah, we know we'll talk about this at the end. We'll talk about it at the end. Let's talk about it again because I don't want to get too far. So I think they lose against NC State. NC State is really good on the line of scrimmage, offensive line and defensive line. They got a really good strength and conditioning program. I mean, they have a lot of guys that get undrafted free agents that go to the league and be starters and play in the league. Yeah. And they've done a good job there. I mean,
there's a lot of talent in that triangle area that a lot of people don't realize. But let's go to next week, a rivalry week, and people listening so far think I'm being Mr. Negative, but I'm being dead serious. I like our chances against Miami. Miami is a program that typically they fold the first adversity they have. They just fold, right? Like in recent years, every year it happens. Even going back to a few years ago, they beat Notre Dame to go to 10-0 and then lost 3 straight games to end the season, and nobody cared about them. I'm going to take Florida State to beat Miami this year in Doak Campbell Stadium. I picked us to lose the week before. I think it's one of those bounce back games. Call it the UNC game this year if you want.
Mm-hmm.
But Miami's more talented and the better team right now. But I do think coming to Tallahassee, if there's any momentum at all, I'm just trying to find the one upset. I don't see another upset possible on the schedule based on what people are looking at, what games could be fully upset. This is the one that I've kind of circled. I think Florida State wins in a close, low-scoring game because I think Alabama destroys Miami early on. They lose another game or two, and they're just going to be disinterested. And Derek King's going to start thinking, do I want to play college or do I want to get ready for the pros and think about, am I a quarterback? Am I a receiver? Whatever it may be. I'm taking Florida State over Miami. I might be the only one to do that, but let's kick it to TJ.
You're definitely the only one to do that. I agree with you when you say that Miami is more talented and a better team, and so I got Miami winning this one. I think it's closer than last year. I think last year snowballed with absolutely no offense. I think we do play a little bit better, but I've got Miami winning this 34-17. I will say on the Pink to Pit podcast that I did this week, Allie picked FSU to win this 28-27 as well. So she had us, rivalry games do get weird, but I don't think we're there in terms of beating Miami. Certainly things could happen, but I not enough, that it'd be the kind of thing that I'd have to see it to believe it at this point.
Damn, I ain't gonna lie, dude. Richie argument for us beating Miami, I like that argument because I'm looking at Miami's schedule now. So before they play us, the 3 games they got: NC State, Pitt, Georgia Tech. I think Georgia Tech's gonna be a way better team than they was last year. They recruiting really well there. I like, of course, I like Jeff Sims. So I think it's a chance, dude. And they got actually looking at their schedule. It's actually a pretty difficult schedule because they got Michigan State after App State. So I'm like, damn,
I think that App State might be a game they need to watch out for, but
Yeah,
that's for another podcast. That's for another podcast.
Yo, okay, so damn, Rich, you kind of got me because I think Norville's going to win a game he's not supposed to win. But
I agree. I just don't know which one. I don't know which one.
I did pick Notre Dame early though.
Yeah, you did.
Damn, I just can't pick them.
I think you got to stick with Miami here then.
I can't pick them to beat Miami, dude. It's just. Rhett Lashley owns Adam Fuller, and until proven otherwise, dude, that's just what I'm going to go with, dude. Because I mean, he put up a hell of a number at SMU when he played against Adam Fuller. So I just can't. If Fuller wasn't a defensive coordinator, I'd pick Florida State.
Yeah, and that's fair. So we'll go right to the next week, November 20th. He could
be fired by the end, though. For the record, it's possible. Just saying.
It really is. But November 20th, we're looking at Boston College in November. It's going to be cold. Man, I just think Boston College is on the right direction. Jeff Hafley is a phenomenal coach.
I like that coach.
I think he's a phenomenal coach. I don't think he'll be at Boston College long. A bunch of Florida boys going up there. Sandwiched in between Miami and Florida. I cannot pick us to win. I think Boston College win this game. TJ, let's go to you.
Yeah, I think Florida State finds a way to win this game. I think this is my sixth win of the year.
Wow.
And this is how we get bowl eligible.
Wow.
Yeah, I have nothing to
in November. Unless global warming is really hidden, that's gonna be tough.
November. I think we find a way to get it done. 24-21 FSU. That's how we get bowl eligible. 6th win of the year for me.
I love it.
I can't pick us to beat them in Boston in November. I just can't do it. Not the week before the Florida game. That's so tough, man. But I do know that all the eggs are going to be in that basket because you need to win that game.
Yeah.
But let's get to Florida. What do y'all think about Florida?
Man.
I think that Florida, the way that we beat Florida is for Emory to be absolutely mid, and they don't go to Richardson. Their defense doesn't improve. Their offense takes a step back because they lost their best tight end ever and another first-round talent in Tony. And then Florida State stays healthy the entire year in Travis,
Right.
And Florida State has figured it out then. That's the only way I see Florida State. Like, Florida's got to have a down year. Like, Florida needs to drop to Bama, which I think they will. They need to drop to Georgia, which I think they will.
Right.
They need to drop to LSU, which is 50-50 to me. Like that game could go
We
either
don't know
way.
what Orgeron's staff is gonna they're
Right.
gonna be doing it.
And
We
so-
don't know. Yeah.
So I need them to have those 3 losses and then drop like another weird game like a Missouri or Kentucky, like something
Ole
they
Miss or
shouldn't
something.
lose.
Did they play Ole Miss this year?
No, they don't. So the only other 2 games that they could realistically lose are like Kentucky or Missouri, which I don't think either one of those happens. But if Florida comes into that game at like 7-4 and we go in at 6-5, then they're a mid team and we're a mid team. Like at the end of the day, our schedule is tougher than theirs. Like
yeah.
we can
battle tested. Yeah.
So we can do it. Probably not going to happen. We're probably going to go into that game with 5 wins, and they're probably going to go into it with 9, and that's what's there we go.
So they play Mizzou before they play us.
Same way we play
That's a tough match. Yeah, that's not your FCS school.
Normally they get an FCS school before they play us. Normally, damn, dude, that's so tough. So this is what I think is going to happen. I think Richardson's going to replace Emory about game 3.
I can see that.
My honest opinion. I think Richardson is tailor made for what Dan Mullen wants to do. The only problem that the way that I see us winning is I think Dan Mullen takes an NFL job before that game happens.
So here's where I'm at, Sam.
I think he's out of there. I think he's out of there, and they're in transition by the time we play them, and we beat Florida. Everybody.
I don't think there's any way. I got Florida 38-21 Gators.
So for the purpose of this podcast, I cannot, in good conscience, pick Florida State to win this one. But what I will say to all the Florida State fans listening, going into the 2010 season, when Urban Meyer had just signed the best recruiting class of all time with Ronald Powell, Kyle Elam, all these studs, and the 2010 season happened. Going into that, Florida was top 5 preseason.
Right.
I'm like, there's no shot in hell we can beat Florida this year. And then we beat them 31-7 in Doak, and I was lucky enough to be there because Urban had his second heart attack, whatever it was. I don't know.
Relax on my guy. He's a Jag now. What are you doing?
Yeah, well, he had Trevor Lawrence looking pretty good today too. But it's that's how crazy it is. Because if before the 2010 season, if you said, Richie, give me your score for Florida State, I said, I don't know, 45-14, Florida wins, and then we won 31-7. Things like that do happen. It's not often, but there's a chance, and that's my hope.
Yeah, the reverse happened as well, right? When we were terrible and fighting for a bowl and had to reschedule a game to get to a bowl and everything else in 2017, we still beat the heck out of Florida, right? Both teams were bad. They went 4-7 that year.
True.
We went 6-6.
But Dan Mullen's a good coach.
So,
not a good recruiter. He's a good coach.
Like the very next year in 2018, they beat our brains in, right? And so and you wouldn't have predicted that. You'd have said in 2018, well, at least we're going to beat Florida, right? Like at least we're not going to lose to those guys. So I don't have us winning that, but it's really hard to predict a rivalry game that's 13, 14 weeks away from now. So if the two teams, I know this, if the 2 teams play week 1 this week, I certainly would be picking FSU. And that's how we're picking all these. That's how we're picking all these games is.
So
these will change. These will change week by week. Yeah,
absolutely. If we come out and beat Notre Dame by 30, I got us beating Wake. Now but go out and show me that we can beat Notre Dame by 30. Hey, we come out and beat Clemson, I got us beating Florida, right? Like I mean, that's just not a question. But if those teams, but I'll tell you, if either of these teams played any of these weeks that we're saying week 1, this is how I'd see the game going down. But got a lot of weeks between now and then. People on YouTube mad that we're being negative,
Well, no, so I actually,
but
I thought we were going to have us I thought I was going to have us at 5-7, but I picked us at 6-6. If my math is correct here, so I got a 6-6.
So
guys, and I just want to say, like Florida State fans, if we go 6-6, that's a good season. Not by Florida State standards, but you take it. Anything less, I'm with you. I'm frustrated, but if we get 8-9 wins. Man, I'm going to flip my car in the driveway or something.
Get that 9 out of your head. I got 6-6 as well.
We're not. That's what I'm saying. We're not going to. It's not going to happen.
If Norvell win 9 games with this team with this schedule, he's the next fucking Nick Saban. I will bet the house on that. Like, yo, this dude is winning 4 national championships in the next 10 years. Like, I don't care. But I mean, okay, and I think a lot of and I realize it because I see a lot of this in my inbox. People like, well, Sam, what about this? What about that? And I'm like, dude, we got to give credit to other programs. You have to give credit to what the coach in Wake Forest has done there. He's done a good job there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, and you go down the schedule, Brian Kelly, this dude has played in like 3 college football national championship on Final Fours. You know what I'm saying? Like he deserves credit for that. There are good teams on the schedule, you know, and I think there are good coaches on the schedule. I don't think Matt Brown's great, you know, but he can recruit his ass off. You know what I'm saying? But I think that Norville can weather the storm, win 5-6 games. I think they'll find a way to win 6 games. I really do think they'll find a way to win 6 games. And
I think that's huge if they do, though. I think 6 is the magic number.
It's all about keeping the quarterback.
Is.
If you keep the quarterback, you keep Hunter, which you're going to keep Hunter, quarterback Hunter, and the offensive line recruit that you're getting. That's a successful season.
Hunter ain't going nowhere. Hunter's not going anywhere.
That's a successful season, dude. If you keep that offensive line class intact, Hunter, the quarterback Duffy, I'm gonna say Norvell had a successful season. Now, some people might say they're gonna judge every game and look at every game and be like, because there's emotion tied to every game. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes you just don't have the better team. And football is not a Disney movie. It's not about who wants it more. Everybody wants it. You know what I'm saying? So it's tough. It's tough. It's really tough, man. I think you have to have talent, and you got to secure talent. And I think the recruiting class he's bringing in is talented. But the last 3 recruiting classes, I mean, that's why we're picking 6 wins. It's not us. You know, I mean, look at the players.
That's why we're so heavy in the transfer portal, right? You're not this active in the portal without it.
Warchant wrote an article about a walk-on today. That's where we're at. You know what I'm saying? God. That's where we're at now. You know what I'm saying? We're writing feel-good stories about walk-ons. I mean, I don't know what to tell people. Like,
we don't talk about rival companies on this podcast.
Well, I'm sorry, but I'm just saying.
I'm kidding.
When you see certain articles about, think about it. In Jimbo's era, we were talking about how many guys going to the NFL. Is Jalen Ramsey gonna be the best defensive back to ever play at Florida State? You know, now we're talking about, well, this guy's a great story. He's a great walk-on. I mean, there's levels to this, and it's okay because I think the climb is just as important. You know, watching Norville kind of build it back up, that can be significant. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think that if we, you know, I had us getting blown out a few games, and I'm kind of like Richie, I need to see it to believe it.
Right.
But I think if you go out and you lose to some, I mean, we're playing 5 top 15 teams, right? Like that's not. Like, I think you've got 5 games that now you can pull it upset, and I would not be shocked if Florida State beats one of those 5 teams, right? I didn't pick them to win any of those 5, but I wouldn't be shocked if Florida State wins one of those 5 games because upsets happen. But I also wouldn't be surprised if they go out there and blow it against Louisville or blow it against NC State, or, you know, so like upsets happen both ways. And I think that, you know, if Florida State goes out and upsets somebody they're not supposed to, a Miami and North Carolina and Notre Dame, because I don't really see them beating Florida or Clemson,
right,
and then wins most of the games they're supposed to, looks more competitive against Florida, keeps it within striking distance against North Carolina, beats the bad teams that you're supposed to beat the way you're supposed to beat them, Louisville, Q's, Jacksonville State, Mass. I think that that's progress, right? And you know, Brendan said it last week on the panel, but first you got to, you know, it's what Bobby used to say. First you got to lose big, and then you got to lose close, and then you got to win close, and then you can win big, right? And we lost big last year, right? So losing close is not a bad thing. You know, the people in the YouTube comments mad that we're being negative and said that negativity gets viewers, and they've been in here commenting the whole time.
Well, then why is my podcast? Why is my podcast not at 1,000 subscriptions? Because people say I'm the most negative person there is.
All I'm saying, like, people need to realize this year is not like the 2008. Like, you guys remember when Preston Parker got in trouble for the season, but they started with Western Carolina and Chattanooga, so he got a 2-game suspension for those 2 games, and then came back.
ACC isn't that anymore. You know
exactly.
The ACC isn't there. I mean, and I told somebody this other day, I go, like, you know, and me and Big Game talk about this all the time, but, you know, they had a roster that we felt like, well, wasn't really good. You know, we went to ACC championship game with that roster.
2005 was not a Florida State roster.
Right.
And they upset Marcus Vick and Virginia Tech to win the ACC title.
Exactly.
So this schedule this year, guys, we're going to play a lot of tough. If we were playing a 2008 schedule, I think I'd be predicting 8-4, 9-3. But we're playing 5 top 14 teams in the country to start the season.
Right.
Again, this all changes. It all changes, but the scores of the games are going to matter more than the record, and that sucks to hear as a fan because it pisses me off just to say it because I want us to win more games. But if our losses are 3, 7, 8, 11 points and not 32, 40, 28 points, that's progress.
Yeah.
Right.
I think we got to wrap up, Sam. Appreciate you for coming. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it is. I mean, it's not negativity to predict that a 3-win team from a year ago is probably going to lose to teams that are ranked in the top 10, right? That to me, that's just not negativity.
Right.
That's just being pretty real, right? We go 6-6. I'm thrilled because you probably lost to 5 teams that were better than you, and you dropped one more game along the way. That's not bad. So
Yeah.
Anyway, we're a little over time. We got to wrap. Come back.
TJ's got a bourbon podcast to do.
Check the Listen Up podcast for more negativity. Sam, thank you so much for.
I am here for you.
Thank you so much for hanging out, man. We'll definitely get you back on. We'll get you on like an instant reaction podcast to talk your crap after we upset Notre Dame. But we appreciate it for sure.
All right.
Y'all go check out the Listen Up podcast. Also, shout out your handle real quick.
Yeah, just follow me at MoreLife1 on Twitter, and you can follow me at Listen Up. I think it's Listen Up Podcast 1. You can follow the page or whatever, man. But hey, man, I really appreciate you guys. Richie, man, I appreciate you. TJ, appreciate you guys. You guys always support, man. Sharing the pod and everything, man. It actually has helped me a lot, so I really appreciate that, man. So I like what you guys are doing here, man. Y'all keep rocking.
Thanks, bro. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon for sure.
Yo.
Thanks, Sam.
Sam Moore of the Listen Up podcast. Hey, we're going to jump right into another guest real quick. We're going to do this pretty quick because we're a little over time. My bourbon guys are asking me where I'm at. Michael Kirkering, host of Let's Talk College Football. Michael, we're a little late. We're getting you on late, and we've got to do this quick. But how are you doing tonight, man? Thanks for hanging out.
Good, man. No worries. I had a good time watching all your guys' predictions and stuff, and pretty much agree with everything, especially the end there. Like, yeah, with this team, 6-6 is I'd be thrilled if that happened. Like, absolutely thrilled. I'm just looking for close losses and beating the teams you're supposed to beat because that's just not been who Florida State's been lately. So I'd love to at least get to that. So
yeah, I mean it's a progression, it's a process, it's a climb, as Coach Norvell likes to call it. And so if we can get there, I think 6 wins is massive because then you've got an outside chance at getting to 7 with a bowl win. And I think it's about understanding who you are and where you are right now as a program. You look at Jameis's first year in Tampa, they won 6 games. Well, you look at the year before that, they won 2. Like he tripled the win total, right? And so if we can go in and more than double the win total by going 6-6 and then maybe a 7th win, I mean that's massive, right? Especially in a college football where you get less games. So
got to keep that recruiting class together. That's
what's important, And then next year you do, you don't have to. I mean, you still have to play. You still have to play some teams that I'll kick Richie out since he just had to leave apparently. But you have to play some tough teams with LSU and Florida and Clemson every year, Miami. But you don't have to play Notre Dame. You don't play North Carolina again next year, so it does get slightly easier. So okay, we have something that we're doing today. Hopefully, people will be excited about this. We're going to do a ticket giveaway, right? With your podcast. Tell the people exactly a ticket giveaway for the Notre Dame game. So FSU Notre Dame plays 1 week from tonight. We'll all be in Tallahassee for it. Tell people about how they can get access to these tickets, what they need to do.
Yeah, so I'm going to give away just 2 tickets. They'll be together for the FSU Notre Dame game. Probably around section 37, 36 area. Not confirmed yet, but that's where I'm thinking it's going to be. And all you got to do to enter is two things to give yourself an entry. You got to follow me on Twitter, which is at Michael_K87. So at Michael_K87. And then you got to subscribe to my podcast. It's on Apple, it's on Spotify, Google. Also here on YouTube is another way. Just Let's Talk College Football Podcast. The thumbnail is a picture of me as a baby wearing FSU gear. And for those wondering, it's not an FSU exclusive podcast at all. I'm a college football nerd. specifically like historian nerd. So right now it's just the audio show with me. Big plans for the future. Like I love talking about old games, old seasons. Richie, when you talked about 2008, I was thinking about that the whole time too, because I remember that season. And I remember thinking like, I'm an 8th grader at this time, by the way. And I remember thinking like, oh, we just had 2 wins. And then I remember we dropped that Wake Forest game at home.
Yeah.
And everything. So yeah, like old memories. I love FSU, so always talking FSU, but just the whole grand picture in total. I just dropped 2 episodes. One was about realignment, obviously, and then one was about the alliance, and then the playoff expansion and how I think that's going to affect that. So I'd love to hear what people think about that. Go like, comment, my contacts on there with emails and stuff. Send me emails. I want to hear what people are thinking about. It's called Let's Talk College Football, so we can all talk college football. So yeah, just
dope. And we'll share the links to not only your podcast, we'll tag you in a post after this, share a little video so that people can enter to win. Again, all you got to do is enter to win is follow Michael on Twitter. We'll, of course, tag the handle in the little video that I'll make for this. We'll also include a link. I'll include the link to the Apple. If you're on something that's not Apple, you got to go find it. But send him a screenshot of that.
Yeah,
on Twitter.
Send the screenshot. Sorry, that's how I'll be able to keep you all together.
Send a screenshot of that to him. Reply to our tweet with it, and you get entered to win. If you win, he'll get you the tickets. Come by the tailgate.
That's what I was going to say. It would have to be probably at the tailgate. I'll give them in person. So,
come to the tailgate and you'll get the tickets. So all you gotta do is follow this guy on Twitter, subscribe to a podcast, check it out if you want to. Listen, check. I mean, his content's good. I've listened to several of the episodes. We had you on the Big 3 roll up a couple of years ago. We gave away tickets to a game there too. My guy Cole texted you. Dustin won that. So, but anyway, chance to get free, really good seats, tickets to the Notre Dame game a week from tonight, man. I'm excited to be back in Doak.
Yeah, super excited.
So cool. We'll tag you that tomorrow, bro. We are so behind time and I'm late to another pod. So let me let you run, but we'll get you on to talk more about your pod, about, Florida State and everything as the season goes on. But excited about the giveaway. Thanks for doing that on our show. And I think our fans are going to like that. Hopefully somebody will get a hookup to some good college football this weekend, man.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. You have a good night.
Love it. Thanks Michael.
Yep.
Appreciate it, man. Michael Kirkering of the Let's Talk College Football podcast. So we're bringing everybody on the different podcasts on tonight. That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
But the giveaway is cool, man. Like, go get some free tickets to the game if you weren't sure.
Good
if you were
tickets.
Good seats, man. Good tickets for free. Like, that's dope, man. These tickets are going for well over $100. Hey, tickets are almost sold out, but you can go to Seminoles.com.
Yes.
Click on the Seminole tickets, and you can buy them. You can also call FSU's ticket office to still get your tickets. There's a few left. There's not a ton, but go check those out for sure. Also, you can take tours of Doak and different things like that. Go to the SeminoleExperience.com and check them out. They've got some really cool stuff, some neat stuff if you're going up to Tallahassee for any games either this week or over the next several months. All right. I think let's talk about the Alliance next week. Jameis Winston starter in New Orleans. I don't think anybody's really shocked by that he beat out a tight end, but what an impressive performance the other night, going 10 of 11, a perfect QBR, 2 touchdowns, some really nice throws. Jameis Winston starter for the Saints week 1. That week 1 matchup with the Saints and Packers is going to be pretty lit, man. Like, that's going to be a fun one for sure. So good news for him. I knew he was going to start.
I think I'm going to have to buy my wife a Jameis jersey. She's been rocking the same Drew Brees jersey for the past however many years. It's time to make the transition. So I think I'm going to buy her a Jameis jersey for this year.
So I'm not a jersey guy, but I definitely have the T-shirt, like the Winston T-shirt with the 2 on the back of it. I can't do jerseys. I just can't be that guy anymore. So, but yeah, no, I'm definitely with it. I think the Bucs. We'll talk NFL another week, but I think the Bucs have an easy schedule, all their talent back from last year. I think they're going to win the division. It's just, can they get hot? But this is after Brady leaves, everyone else leaves, and the Bucs are going to be kind of trying to rebuild. This is a move that could set the Saints up. I don't know that they're going to compete for the division. I think they could get a wild card. But I think that this is a move that could set up the Saints for years to come.
I am fully prepared for this to be the last year as a Bucs fan for me to be really like all in, like, okay, we could do this thing. I think next year the whole band breaks up. I think it's just a mass attrition. Think the Miami Marlins after they won the title in 96 or 97, excuse me, in 2003, when they won those World Series and then just sold everybody off. I think that's what's going to happen with Tampa Bay, but I'm okay with that because we got one Lombardi to add to the 2001 Lombardi. And if we can get one more, that's great. If not, no big deal. So this is really a stress-free NFL season for me.
Bro, all NFL seasons are stress-free to me, but I see what you're saying. Okay, last thing, and then we'll get out of here. We are going to try and raise a little bit of money for charity at Richie's expense. We've talked about this on the podcast and alluded to it several times. We have coordinated 2 competitions. I don't know if we're going to have a third one or not. We're working on that right now. We've coordinated 2 competitions that Richie's going to partake in on Saturday while we're in Tallahassee. One is a closest to the hole against John Pock. The other is he's going to try and return a serve from Vic Allen, one of our interns, actually. Shout out Vic, shout out Tyler, our 2 interns from FSU Sport Management. He's going to try and return a serve from her on Saturday as well. We're thinking he goes 0 for 2, but what we want people to do is we want to try and we're doing this. It's gonna be fun. We want to try and raise money for charity, and I'm trying to see if we can just donate the money to the boosters. If we just need to give it to a local food bank, that's fine. If we give it to James Coleman because he's buying backpacks for like whatever. Like I just want to go to a good cause, and so we're trying to figure that out right now. But we'll put out a graphic and info and different things like that of how you can contribute. What I'd like for people to do is pledge a certain amount for each competition that Richie does, right? So if you say, hey, I'll give $5 for every competition he does, he's going to lose, there's $10. You give $10 to charity, great. If Richie happens to win one of the competitions, I want people to double their pledge. So they probably won't, right? Like it's
highly unlikely. Yeah, highly unlikely.
But if he gets closer to the hole than John Pock, like give $10 for that one, right? And nothing massive, but we're doing this. It's going to be fun. I think it'd be cool to look. Hunter's already ready to send money, bro. You can Venmo me, Hunter, and then you can also, Venmo the actual cost too. But no, I think it'll be really cool. Raise some money for charity. Laugh at Richie and his expense. We'll record video of all of it. We'll take pictures of all of it, and we'll put that out there so that everyone else can laugh at Richie, not just the people that are there in person. So again, going to try and raise money this week for it. Again, you can pledge whatever you want, but if people want to do $5 for every competition that he does, you're looking at $10, $15 if we can get a third one. If you want to do $1 for every competition he does, then whatever you want to do is great. We'll put out I'll have to commission Brian to put together a graphic for us. Thanks, Brian. But we'll put that out tomorrow, put out all the details for it, and hopefully we can raise some money for a good cause and laugh at Richie. So thanks, John Pott. Thanks for Vic Allen. And whoever that third competition is going to be, thank you for that as well. All right, that's all I got tonight. I don't know if you have anything else. I know we ran over a little time.
Yeah, I know you're running really late, and I'm quite frankly ready for bed. So this worked out really well.
Well, we're a little past your bedtime, so
yeah. On a work night. Granted, it's a 4-day work week. I'm really excited about that.
Do you have a song for us tonight?
All I do is win. Vic Allen, John Pock. I'll see you next weekend.
Until we will not do a show on Sunday. We'll put a show out on Monday night because of the game. If we win, maybe a reaction show.
Well, we're also going to have a preview show most likely.
Oh yeah, preview show coming Thursday.
Yes.
Thursday evening, previewing the Notre Dame game specifically. Reaction show if we win, or if we lose, we'll see. Maybe we'll do a reaction show either way. We'll see on that one.
We'll be in Tallahassee. Why not?
Right. I mean, that'll be way past your bedtime at that point. But we'll talk then. But we'll definitely have a show on Monday. So until then, until we talk with you guys again, go Noles.